It's Purple Daily on Score North and ScoreNorth.com.
He's right around the 15 to 16 point average, which means he's Julio Jones or Chris Godwin from last year, and neither one of those players had great campaigns overall from a fantasy football perspective. I'm not saying Justin Jefferson is going to be a bust. Absolutely not. I think the kid could actually score more touchdowns this season than he did last year. But I do think there is a very distinct possibility that the reception totals and the yardage totals go down. Remember, NFL defensive coordinators now have 1 full year of tape on Justin Jefferson at the pro level, and they're certainly going to be utilizing that to defend him better this upcoming season.
What's up with that? What's up with all the Justin Jefferson slander this week? He's off the ESPN top 10 wide receivers list. You got this random fantasy guy just casting shade.
Is this like some sort of weird expected regression thing?
Probably. Well, 1,400 yards. All right, he's probably going to only have 1,300 yards.
But he was also ignored for 2 or 3 games.
Yeah.
So, like, you take out... So that's really in what, a span of 13 games?
You know what I have to say? Who was that fantasy guy? It wasn't Matthew Berry. Some other fantasy guy.
It was some other dude.
Fabiano?
All right.
From
Fabio? He changed careers?
Fabi not going to be giving me fantasy advice anymore?
I want to help you with your fantasy league team now.
You know what he needs to do? He needs to chill. He needs to chill. I feel chill. I know you guys do because of Chill Boys.
I have mine on.
Best boxers, boxer briefs you're going to find. It's a Minnesota-based company, and at Chill Boys, they're passionate about one thing, your comfort. All right, what's your word today to describe how you feel wearing your Chill Boys?
Excellence. Excellence is my word, and here's why. For the first 50 years of my life, when I was in need of boxers, because I'm a boxers guy.
Me too.
Briefs guy as a kid. I don't appreciate that, Mom and Dad. But a boxers guy now. For the first 50 years, I would go and, let's say Target or something, right? And be like, where can I find the boxers? And I would buy what I could get, and sometimes they were fine, sometimes they weren't. But, I mean, it was just a really, it's underwear thought process, right? Chill Boys has changed that. Chill Boys now has me knowing what boxers and underwear excellence is. And that's a product that keeps you cool, comfortable, and happy every moment that you're wearing it.
Chillboys.com. 2 words for you. Bamboo fabric. Read up on it. This is Purple Daily. Phil Mackey, Judd Zolgad, our executive producer, Declan Goff. Also presented by TCL. Enjoy more of what you love with TCL. And boys, we have another set of rankings for y'all today. We love rankings on this show. ESPN.com. So they have a metric called pass blocking win rate. They've got run blocking win rate. It's the ESPN.com analytics department. And they have ranked every team in the NFL based on what they project each team's pass blocking win rate to be, 1 through 32. So it's basically how often do individual players on the player side and teams sustain their pass blocks for at least 2.5 seconds using player tracking data from NFL's Next Gen Stats. So pretty simple. Did you give your team 2.5 seconds or more, or your quarterback, to at least scan his options down the field? And so PFF has had the Vikings pass blocking unit as one of the bottom 5 in the league basically throughout Kirk Cousins' career here. I will tell you, ESPN.com Next Gen Stats had the Vikings 18th in the NFL last year. Their pass block win rate was 56%. The number 1 team in the NFL was the Packers at 74% and the Browns at 71%. But according to ESPN.com, last year, the Vikings pass blocking unit was kind of middle of the pack. It was 18th, which is actually way better than I would have thought. So before I go any further and we unveil where they have the Vikings ranked after drafting Christian Darrisaw and what they have this year, are you guys a little surprised to see that they are actually more mid-pack in pass protection according to this metric?
I wonder what the Kirk stands have to say about that then, because that's we talk a lot about the fact that if Kirk only got the protection, if Kirk's line was good, if Kirk, and you know what, I do, by the way, buy into and agree with a bunch of that. But yeah, that's surprising. I would have said, if you had asked me at the start of the segment, I would have said, yeah, probably 26th or lower, which is awful, but that's how it felt. So the one thing that, we really haven't talked about much that was an interesting thing about the 2020 season was, Riley Reef was good.
Yes.
We talked about that a while back, but we haven't brought that up in quite some time. Your left tackle was good. And I feel like when your left tackle is good, your guard play, obviously, especially before Ezra Cleveland was inserted at right guard, had some problems. But, your tackle play was pretty solid. And Reef, I think we all were like, oh, Riley Reef's terrible. He wasn't terrible. In fact, he was good. So if I think about that, I'm a little less surprised, but I still would have put him 26 or below.
Their run blocking, so they were 18th in pass block win rate last year. They were 21st in run block win rate. So they were actually, relative to the league, according to this metric, they were actually better as a pass protection unit last year than a run blocking unit. So it's interesting. It's information to use.
Surprising.
So this year, they've projected everyone based on who the starters are supposed to be, and obviously it's a little bit tough for the Vikings because we project them to have 2 rookies starting along the offensive line, and then Ezra Cleveland moving to a position he hasn't played before in left guard. But number 1 is the Cleveland Browns. Number 2, Green Bay Packers. Number 3, Arizona Cardinals. Number 4, Seattle Seahawks. So squeaky wheel Russell Wilson getting what he wants.
They've done a lot of work with that thing.
Very interesting. And then the Buffalo Bills, number 5. Chiefs, number 6. They made some major overhauls to their offensive line. I'm going to keep scrolling. Oh, I'm past 18, and I'm scrolling further now.
You probably missed. You might want to go back and find the Vikings.
Let me go back up. I'll go back up. Sorry, I might have missed. No, Tampa 16, Broncos 17, Washington 18. Vikings projected to be 24th. So they're projected to go from 18th to 24th. And their projected offensive line is Christian Darrisaw, Ezra Cleveland, Garrett Bradbury, Wyatt Davis, and Brian O'Neill. Here's the write-up. Darrisaw was a well-regarded pass-protecting prospect selected in the first round in April. The reality is that rookies, even first-rounders, are a mixed bag. Our model at ESPN.com treats rookies as below-average starters. I took a stab at making first-round rookies a specific variable, but it hurt the model's accuracy. So it's going to be skeptical of a line like this without any proven strong talent. It actually expects a step back from last year. So the way they explain it, as they said there, is they're viewing Darrisaw and Davis as below average because it's so hard to project what a rookie might do. So I guess your overall thoughts, like the fact that ESPN.com has the pass blocking as not a train wreck last year, and maybe getting worse because of I think we're probably sitting here saying, oh, well, Darrisaw and Wyatt Davis are going to just improve the offensive line. Well, Riley Reef was a top half of the league left tackle, to your point. So just to equal Riley Reef, if you're Darrisaw, is going to be a task. I think anything is better than Dakota Dozier, though. So I tend to think that just putting a non-disaster out there for 1,000 snaps is going to be a magic elixir to some extent. But what are your thoughts digesting this?
My thoughts are very simple. There's 2 places. There's a question mark, and then there's 2 places where this line absolutely has to improve. I think Ezra Cleveland going from right guard to left guard will be fine because he played left tackle and he played right guard. Excuse
Easy.
me.
Judge
hey, buddy.
No,
did Sid's bobblehead just come to life there? What happened?
I knocked my the bat from my Sino.
Hey, you.
Bobblehead. Anyway.
I got to talk to you.
Thanks, Miguel.
Judd's been drinking. It's early.
So.
Drinking some early IPA in the morning.
Never. I would never drink on the job unless I was home talking to Declan. So when you put in Cleveland at left guard, I think you'll be fine because he previously played left tackle, so he knows how to play the left side of the line. The keys to me as far as have to show improvement is, and the slam dunk one, Garrett Bradbury. Dude has to be good now. Like, if he's not good, again, I'll go back to saying this. If he's not good overall, so I don't show me, oh, look, he can run block. If he is not sufficient in pass protection, that's a first-round bust now. That's a big deal. Like, you just had a first-round pick bust. So we probably need to focus more on our expectations for him in particular because he's now going into, I believe it's his 3rd year, and the expectation is that, when really good pass rush guy who plays 3 technique is lined up against him, he has to stop him. Previously, he's been thrown backwards, sometimes into the stands. Wyatt Davis at guard has to be serviceable. I don't think he has to be great, but Phil, I would tend to agree with you, which is starting Dakota Dozier was football malpractice, and Wyatt Davis should not be that. And then Darrisaw, sort of the wild card, because I think it's going to be a good pick. I think he's going to be good. Don't sell short the fact that Reef is coming off a good season. But for the long term, I'm not criticizing this move. I like this move. But if I was to put together a sort of checklist of what I want to see from day one, I think my most important one is Garrett Bradbury. You better be damn good.
Yeah.
I'm tired of you not being good.
I'm kind of scrolling through. This is all very fascinating. These just sort of simplifying offensive line as a unit and how well they protect against the pass rush, how well they clear the way for the run. So how about this on the flip side? So team pass rush win rate. So as a defense, how often are you disrupting the opposing team's quarterback? And the Vikings were 30th last year. Danielle Hunter out. Michael Pierce out, right? Like they just didn't have their allotment of guys. They were starting backups along the defensive line.
Yep.
They went out and they fixed that. They signed, so Danielle Hunter coming back, they made him happy contractually. Sheldon Richardson should help up the middle with some push, so they addressed it. The other thing, and this is what I'm sure Mike Zimmer had this flashing through his head all off season, and then free agency they went and fixed it. Run, stop, win rate. So how often are you stopping the opposing team from doing what they're looking to do in the run game? And it's all very much bunched together. You don't see the wide gap like in pass protection, but the Vikings were 32nd, dead last in the NFL in run, stop, win rate. So
yes.
So they're mindful of these numbers, and I don't know. This is nerd football stat territory we've gotten into here, but I think the biggest takeaways are the offensive line, according to this metric, wasn't as bad as people thought at holding up for Kirk last year. And the offensive line isn't guaranteed to just magically be better because you've put Christian Darrisaw and Wyatt Davis in. There's got to be development during camp. There's these guys have to really soak everything in and get it because you don't have great backup options for those guys. Right now, Dakota Dozier is like your backup swing guard. And I don't know that you even have another starting caliber tackle on your roster that you would trust for 500 snaps. So the pressure is on
Rashad
those
Hill
rookies.
is it.
Yeah, I mean, and
like
he,
if you
know,
trust
for a
him,
month,
that's fine, but he's it.
Yeah, yep. So it'll be interesting to see the development of those guys during training camp. Tomorrow night in the NHL, it is tomorrow night, right? Wednesday night, the expansion draft. So in the NHL, the Seattle Kraken are going to get to basically choose a player off every roster and make their own NHL team tomorrow night. And the way that they do it there's like two different ways you can sort of protect your roster, but basically you get like 9 players to protect, a goalie, and then 8 skaters, forwards and defensemen. And so we thought it'd be kind of fun here on Purple Daily is if we held our own Purple Daily protected list for a hypothetical expansion draft, who would be on our protected lists for the Vikings? And here are the parameters, all right?
Okay.
So we can protect 9 total players, 1 quarterback, and 8 other players. And last year's rookies and this year's draft picks are excluded. The NHL basically says if you have 2 years of experience or less in the NHL, so Kaprizov, you're not eligible. So last year's rookies and this year's draft picks excluded. So Justin Jefferson, Kellen Mond, Christian Darrisaw, Cam Dantzler, etc. Those guys are excluded. So who's your 1 quarterback and who are your 8 non-quarterbacks that you guys would protect?
Dex, you want to start us off?
Sure. Obviously, I'm protecting Kirk because I'm not protecting Jake Browning or Nate Stanley. I can't speak for Judd Zulgad or Phil Mackey, what they're going to do with their quarterback protection list.
I want to see what Phil does. I think we're going to get some smart acre response here.
Oh, come on.
Come on, exactly is right. All right, my 8 protection list.
Yep.
Brian O'Neill, Irv Smith, Adam Thielen, Alex Madison.
What?
Alex Madison.
Okay.
Oh, my God. I see what he's doing.
Daniil Hunter, Dalvin Tomlinson, Harrison Smith, Eric Kendricks. I am clearing out that Dalvin Cook contract. Who wants it? Also, if we're exempting the first and second year players, There's going to be some guys that are going to have to get off this team and someone who's going to have to go away. I'm clearing out the Dalvin Cook contract. I'm keeping Alexander Mattison for one more year. Drafting a new rookie if I want in the next draft. I can do whatever I want. I just freed up a bunch of cap space.
Wow.
I expose Dalvin Cook in my protection list.
Wow.
I didn't see that coming.
I didn't either. That's a curveball right there. That's a curveball. So you're letting Dalvin Cook go for nothing. I mean, I know that you get the cap space and his contract. I think his contract really starts kicking in this year. So you're just good with Dalvin. You're just done with Dalvin. One of the best players in the NFL.
And in the more I watch him play, Madison, I like him enough, but I mean he's
a guy.
no
He's just
Dalvin
a guy.
Cook.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he shows
He's
you that
serviceable.
like you can just find a guy to run for 4.5 yards a carry, and I mean Alex Madison is the reason why you look a little sideways at teams that pay Dalvin Cook and Zeke Elliott, right? But I'd have a hard time, and I know that this exercise is tough because no matter what you do, you're going to leave Pro Bowl caliber players exposed potentially.
I was actually surprised how simple this was for me. Like I thought I started this list and I'm like, I'm going to have to make some decisions here.
Okay.
This is as easy of a list of protected players in any sport as I've ever done.
Wow. Yeah. Well,
And I do protected
Nate
lists
Stanley for
all
sure.
the time. Well, no, Jake Browning. I mean, when you're looking at a future franchise quarterback like Jake Browning, who you signed to a big free agent deal, who actually might have got you penalized for all I know and lost you a 7th round pick.
Actually,
really
to that
surprised.
point, so part of Dex's logic is there's a couple contracts here that you could probably just do without, and in your mind, Dalvin Cook is one of them. But you protected Kirk, and Kirk is the second highest paid quarterback to the cap in the NFL next year. This would have been your chance to get out from underneath that Kirk Cousins contract.
Yes.
But you protected him.
But we're assuming that this is
Explain yourself, I guess.
I know what I'm getting in Kirk. It's too early to just say Kellen Mond's the guy. I'm going to roll the dice that Kirk Cousins is still that dude. And I still have Justin Jefferson. I still have the
But
receiving
Dalvin's
weapons.
a key part of your 2021.
Dalvin is a part of a old school 2003 offense, and I want to get this in a pass heavy
Catch
offense.
the ball.
Can you leave Mike Zimmer unprotected?
Yeah, honestly, Can I protect Clint Kubiak but also expose Mike Zimmer? I would even think about
So
doing that as
you're
well.
saying that the gap between Cousins and Mond and the other backups is Grand Canyon, but the gap between Dalvin Cook and Alex Madison is not nearly as wide. Like you could still get your 4.5 yards a carry and
Yep.
Judley.
My logic.
All right. I went with a far more predictable list. And again, it was really, really simple. I thought there'd be tough decisions, and there wasn't. I am also, because I did this list, just to be clear, first of all, I did this list assuming that it was a 2021. So like this would have been done in like April or something. So I did this list not looking towards the future, but looking directly at 2021. Danielle Hunter, protected. Dalvin Cook, thank you very much, protected. Eric Kendricks, Brian O'Neill, Harrison Smith, Irv Smith Jr., Adam Thielen, and my 8th one, I struggled a little bit, but it's not because I love guys. It's because I almost didn't care as much by this point. Dalvin Tomlinson. And then I protected Kirk. So I exposed the 4 guys I've got written down that I exposed that I thought were interesting to expose. Anthony Barr, Garrett Bradbury, Patrick Peterson, if I had signed him and had to protect him, Michael Pierce. But then I did protect Kirk.
Yeah. This
Who
is
was
a
your
fun
protection
exercise.
list again, too?
It was Danielle Hunter, Dalvin Cook, Kendricks, O'Neill, Harrison Smith, Irv Smith, Thielen, Dalvin Tomlinson.
Okay.
All right. We're pretty close. I'm going to start with, I'll sort of work my way to the drama here. All right. So Danielle Hunter, Eric Kendricks, Brian O'Neill, Dalvin Cook, Harrison Smith, Adam Thielen, Irv Smith Jr. And then I have Patrick Peterson protected because I think there's a big chance for a bounce back in 2021. Even though it's a 1-year contract, and you might look and say, well, wait a second, Dalvin Tomlinson, it's a 2-year contract. So I could listen to you on Dalvin Tomlinson because I'd be giving up 2 years of him as opposed to 1 year of Patrick Peterson. But you have more depth at defensive tackle than you do at corner right now. So I would just, like, if you take Patrick Peterson out of the equation, I get nervous about the other guys that are coming in. And then at quarterback, I'm protecting Kirk Cousins. There is no doubt.
Oh. The thing on Pat.
I'm not that anti. He's still one of the 15 best quarterbacks in the world, and you're still trying to do some damage and make a run in 2021. So
my logic on Pat P was actually age, and if you're an expansion team, I don't think you take him. So that was my, because I do value him, but I don't think that he would be a guy an expansion team would pluck.
The other names, like Garrett Bradbury, it seems like you can leave. He's been underwhelming. Well, he is your starting center, and you don't exactly have an amazing option behind him. So I did think on that one. Xavier Woods, just to make sure that because you don't have a ton of depth at safety, and Xavier Woods is still young enough. Anthony Barr, not really that hard of a decision when Eric Kendricks is protected, and then Bashad Breeland too, but that's a 1 year kind of a flyer guy, and I think he's like 28 or 29 or something.
If I'm an expansion team, I'd probably take Michael Pierce.
Yeah, I mean, now he's got a calf problem, and hasn't played in 2 years. So, he's in it, but he's like 27. He's the type of guy that would be in his prime
I take Pierce
still.
Or Bradbury.
Yeah.
If I'm in an expansion team, because I don't care if I win, because I know I'm going to pack my stadium for 3 years.
Oh, I'm also protecting Brainerd International Raceway. I forgot to mention that because it's just a blast, and I wouldn't.
You don't get a ninth protection.
I wouldn't want to lose them to like Wisconsin or something. I don't want some other team. So Brainerd International Raceway gearing up in a couple weeks here for another great weekend, July 30th through August 1st. The Moto America group coming to Brainerd International Raceway for the first time. Super bike racing classes, 190 miles per hour of pure adrenaline. What needs to happen for us to get Judd on one of these bikes? Just going 190 miles an hour.
No. Judd can't do that.
The wind blowing through your beard.
No, Judd's too old for that. I think the fastest I could go in or on something was probably about 95.
He says that, but then he's going to see Dakota Dozier at right guard at the start of training camp, and he's going to be in one of those cruisers right away, coming right down to Zimmer's household.
Yep. How fast can I knock on Zimmer's door?
That scares me.
So VIP packages, camping, ticket information available at BIRMN.com. BIRMN.com. All right, boys. Are you ready? Are you got your trivia hats on here? This Tuesday Vikings trivia?
Yes.
Now,
is this the competition, or do we work together on this one? I always
forget
which one.
You guys get to work together on this one.
Okay. It's Thursday.
This is all a work in progress, though. We can change this and tweak this as we go.
Yep.
So I'm going to preface this one by saying the theme this week has to do with Adrian Peterson, who's hoping for a 15th year in the NFL this year. He told Sports Talk 790, the training's going well. This is in Houston, by the way. The training's going well. I'm going to control the things I can control right now. When the time comes, somebody will give me a call. That's all I'm asking for. So no one's called him yet, which is...
Sounds like me on Friday night. But yeah, I got you.
My body feels good. I came out healthy from last season. My body feels strong. I still feel strong. I still feel good. I'm ready to play ball. So Peterson wants a 15th season in the NFL. Here's my question to you guys. Adrian Peterson's best rushing performance was obviously his 296-yard record-setting day against the Chargers in 2007.
Yes.
I just need, now Judd complained about having these questions with like multiple answers, which I will bring back because those are fun. But I'm giving Judd his wish this week. I'm looking for one thing. Well, I'm looking for one thing and then a couple facts about the one thing. Can you tell me Adrian Peterson's second biggest single season rushing total in a game in his NFL career?
Okay.
I'm looking for the biggest single game rushing total.
Okay.
Yep, and I'm looking for the year that it happened, the opponent, and the general range of yards, like within 5 yards on either side is acceptable.
Judd, the first one that comes to mind to me is it's that same rookie year against Chicago.
At Chicago.
The
Longwell game. Yes.
And he ran for I think it was 220. It was over 2. It was over 2.
Was that 06 or 07?
That would have been, this would have been 07. 07.
Oh, 07.
He was a rookie in 07.
That's right.
Yep.
What am I talking about? Yes.
Oklahoma does not count in this exercise.
That was the first game I thought of as well, because I covered that game. That was the one. In fact, he then returned, if you recall, Dex, the kickoff late in that game, I believe, that set up the Longwell field goal that won that game.
Yep.
because he returned kickoffs as a rookie. If that's
He
what
was
you,
great in that game.
if that's the first one that came to mind for you, let's just make sure here. Let's just have a discussion amongst friends. Cut Phil out of this. Would there be anything else we're overlooking? Because that's exactly what I thought.
Another
He
one
did
that
run for 2,000 yards one year, and just throw
Right.
that out there.
So a couple of them that come to mind to me. Week 1 against the Browns with Favre, he had like a $175. Like he
Yes.
ran all over
and
the field.
And he ran right over like two Browns players.
Yeah,
He
it was
killed
one of the
them.
best stiff arms ever.
I believe
Yes.
he stiff-armed a guy like 5
on-
yards into the bench area or something.
It was awesome.
It was on the SI cover, I believe, the next
Yeah,
week.
it's
if
probably
I'm-
the greatest stiff arm of all time.
But in the 2000, so in the record season,
Yeah,
did he have any
Yeah.
one game?
there was. If he was on my birthday or the day it was the Rams game late in that 2012 year. He also had a big game, and that was like again in that I think that 170 range.
You guys want one little tiny hint?
I feel like we're not right because Phil keeps trying to steer us away from 2007.
Yeah,
Yeah, sure.
sure.
Or am I trying to
Well,
to beat you guys?
what's the
Give
hint?
us the hint.
Let's hear the hint.
He has
Come on,
run for over 200 yards 6 times in his NFL career,
Jesus.
all with the Vikings.
Judd, how much did he run against the Packers in the Week 17 finale in 2012? That was a big day for him too.
Ooh, yeah, that was huge because he basically won that game
And
single-handedly.
Ponder played so well his arm broke.
His elbow fell off. He ran for 2-something that day, didn't he?
I want to say he
Probably
did.
like 2
So I think our leading candidates are the Bears game in his rookie year,
Packers game.
that Packers game at the end of 2012.
at the Dome. Yep.
I know I mentioned the Rams one in 2012, but I mean clearly he had to have had in that 2012 year. He probably had at least 3 games of a $170
Yes.
because there's no other way you would get to 2,000
Yeah,
yards.
that Packer
without
game.
averaging it.
That Packer game. When did they take him out of that game too? I feel like they took him out
Yeah.
right before a milestone.
I'm gonna real quick because Declan asked for it. He had 5 games of at least a $170 in that 2012 season, which is that's not
Oh,
a
it's
hint or
incre-
anything. It's just an
incredible.
amazing stat.
It's incredible. Okay, are you more comfortable with the Bears game, Dex, or the Packers game? The Packers game's a good one too.
I'm confident with the Bears game.
Okay.
I'm leaning more on the Bears game, even though
Okay.
the Packers was more
Final
recent.
answer?
Yeah.
You guys had it all along. Nice job.
Yes.
Yeah, he ran for 224 yards and 3
Nice.
touchdowns on just 20 carries.
Well, and look at the
20
total yards.
carries.
Go back to his
224.
kickoff, the kickoff return yards too in that
Yeah,
game.
he probably had close to 300.
4 for a $128, and he caught 1 pass for 9 yards. So he accounted for like 350 some odd, 360 total yards.
A cold day and a rare win in Soldier Field, as I recall correctly.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was a chilly day.
He had here's the list. So 296 in 2007, and then 224 against the Bears. Then he had 212 at the Rams in week 15 of 2012.
That's when they went on the run. That's when Ponder went on that run.
Home against Chicago 2013, he had 211 on 35 carries.
Okay.
Don't remember that as well.
At Green Bay, before the 4-game win streak in 2012, in a loss, he went for 210. Then 2015 at Oakland, he had 203. And then the last game of the year against Green Bay in 2012, it was a $199 to set the
That's what it
2,000
was.
mark.
Right under. Yeah, and they
They
and
were
they
booing him. They're booing Childress.
well, they didn't get him. They could have gotten him to the actual record, and they failed to do it, as I recall.
Yeah. Wasn't
All
sure.
right,
So-
nice work, Dex.
Great work. You guys did a great job there, teaming up. And,
I feel like
that's
today has
Tuesday
been a
Vikings
good
Trivia.
day on the trivia front, except for the wild captaincies.
Pretty good. That trivia experience presented also by our friends at Federated. They've been around for over 100 years in Owatonna, Minnesota. And listen, they've been protecting businesses against 2,000-yard rushing performances or whatever the equivalent is. You're trying to play defense sometimes as a company and make sure that you manage risks, and that's where Federated comes in to help maximize your strengths as a business. Find out more about the resources and the tools and the people that they can provide for your business at federatedinsurance.com. And remember, at Federated, it's our business to protect yours. All right, boys. We'll write that down action tomorrow, and we appreciate everyone leading us up to training camp next week. We've officially made it through the doldrums of the football offseason, and we're still here every single day. Daily Vikings entertainment. And all we want is for the Vikings to win a Super Bowl before we die. And they begin that journey again next week. See you guys tomorrow.